Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio. And I came into my studio today, wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I do have a few projects I need to finish up, but I decided first I would start by cleaning up my laptop. And by that I mean I have had all these windows open in my browsers looking for different things and inspiration. And while I was doing that, I came across this it's a die set because I've been working on the fractured look dies. This one's more of like a quilting type or a stained glass type background. But I thought, oh, well, that's so easy. You know, I just was going to close the window, but it caught my eye, and I'm like, this is so easy. We could make this in Design Space. Now, this is a die set that's available. I found it on Simon Says, but it is by Spellbinders, so you can get it from either place. I will try to put the links below, so to make it easier for you, they are not affiliate links. I do not get anything from them. It's just for your convenience. If you would rather have the die and you're not using a Cricut or one of the other cutting machines. So I went ahead and went into Cricut and Open Design Space is what I should say, and decided to go ahead and do a quick look and see what do they have for quilt block dies. And they do have quite a few. In fact, it says there's 12,652. I usually find that to be a little inaccurate because there's duplicates and sometimes stuff will fit in there that isn't really exactly what I'm looking for. But you can see they have a lot. Most of them are squared off. There's a nice log cabin look, which is great for your strips, by the way. They call it double herringbone background, but it looks like a log cabin block. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff here, but I didn't see a lot of the rounded stuff like the wedding ring or cathedral quilt block, different rounded ones. So if you scroll down a little further, you'll find a couple, but I got tired of scrolling and decided, well, let me just see what I can come up with on my own. So I quickly whipped out this little guy here, and this blue square in the back, that would be my card front. It's actually a little smaller than my card front, so what I would do is I would cut this floral design out of the background, I believe, and then put another piece behind it maybe. I'm not sure I had gotten that far in my thought process yet, but you could make it a little bit bigger if you wanted to make it the full. Well, in fact, let's just do that. I'm gonna duplicate it, that way I have both of them to compare. And if we go, I'm going to just do the background first. So make it 4.25 and 5.5, and then we can enlarge this theoretically, or it actually looks good the way it is. Now the original card is a square because circles fit better on squares than rectangles, but I didn't use a circle. I tried it first with a circle and I ended up getting this. Oops, I guess I should have grouped it. I ended up getting this, and I'm like, well, that's not what I was looking for. I figured out what I could have done differently. I just haven't done that yet. But then I thought, I went into shapes. I'm going to slow down so I quit tripping over my words. And I thought, what shape will work good or look interesting? And so I decided to use this teardrop die. Excuse me. And so what I did was, just like we did in our last video, I sized the teardrop to the shape I thought I wanted it. I made a copy, shrunk it down to the size I thought it should be, and then I sliced it out of there. And then, whoops, wrong one. And then I duplicated this. So let's do that real quick. And I flipped it horizontally, and then I selected them both, aligned it at the bottom or the top, either way, and then I decided to work from there. So let's move down here and I'll just show you kind of what I did real quickly. So then I wanted to separate them because I wanted this a little bit longer. So I just kind of pulled it out, and you could stop at any point. You could leave that in the middle, however it'll probably get covered up by the time you do this, you know, make this make a few more copies of this and then change the angle. So I just decided to go ahead and pull it all the way out, and when I did that I ended up with a piece that was big enough to fit on here like so. So what I did then was I welded it and then I duplicated it. I don't remember how many times I needed. Actually, you know what, I'm going to do that because that's not exactly how I did it. So what I did was, with it selected, I duplicated it and then I rotated it 45 degrees. Then I selected, that was still selected, so I duplicated that one and rotated it 90 degrees. And then I duplicated that one and rotated it 135 degrees. And now we have enough to go all the way around. So I just selected all of them and I did align center, and there you can combine and weld. And there you go. And then I just added another little circle. We'll take one of these from up here and we'll bring it to the front just so I can see it. Well, actually, we don't even have to do that. Let's just pull it over here and then select them all and center. So we line and center, and then we can splice, or slice, I mean. And then you can just pull that out of there, get rid of those, and there you have it. And how easy was that? You just boom, 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 and you're done. You've got a nice little florally cathedral window style quilt top, or, you know, fractured card or quilted card or whatever. And again, the same techniques we used in yesterday's video or the last video are the same techniques you can use in this one, where you can do a reverse image, or you can deboss and only cut out the inserts here. So all of those options still apply. And of course you can resize it to whatever size you think you need it. So the other thing, since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and do this because I can't do a short video. I don't know. It's not in my DNA apparently. So now we're going to take the oval, which is what I worked with first, but I think I'm going to try this oval, this more flat top and flat bottom oval. We're going to come down here where we can see we don't have anything competing for our attention, and I'm going to resize it. I'm going to kind of do it like, let's keep it right about, let's keep it about 4 for now. And then we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to make that smaller. And kind of lay it in there, see how it fits. Let's change the color just to make it a little easier to see. So I think it needs to be a little shorter to keep the borders closer to even. Okay, maybe a little bit shorter still. And maybe we'll pull it out a little bit there. So now let's select them both, align and center. I like that. So let's slice. Slice, slice, baby. All right, we're going to delete. Well, I'll hang on to them. I might need them. You never know. Okay, so we've got one copy. So now we are going to duplicate that, and we're going to rotate it 45. And you could do 30. You could do 60. You know, you just want to do it in increments that'll divide evenly into 360. So we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to do 90, and duplicate that, and do 135. And it looks like a hot mess right now, but if you select everything, then select align and center, look at that. Kind of cool, huh? So I'm thinking I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. See those little bitty triangles in there? They're pretty small. I think I would probably contour those out just because they're so small. But we'll do that. Oh, we haven't welded anything, so let's not worry about it just yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide over this way a little bit. I'm going to take another one of these. I'm going to duplicate that, slide it over, and I'm going to make it even narrower. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate that, and this time, since we did 45, let's do 30. And duplicate 60, duplicate 90. Oh, 90 is what we already had. 30, 60, 120. Yeah, that's good. Duplicate 150. And I'm not sure how many more of those we need, so let's just align it and center. We need one more. So this was our last one. So duplicate, and this one will be 180. And then we're going to center it again. So select everything, align and center, and there you have another design. Now those triangles are a little bit bigger, so those might work. Let's go ahead and combine it and weld it, just because. So this overall size is 4.9 or 4.097. Let's take a copy of this and come back with it. Whoa, I grabbed the corner and I should have grabbed it in the middle. Okay, so, oh, okay, put that back. So let's put this here and let's send it to the back. Let's see what this looks like on here. It's a little big, because remember this is 4 by 5 1/4, not 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I want to just reduce the size of that a little bit, just playing, not looking for exactness here. So then you can either position it at the top if you want a rectangular card, or you could position it at the bottom, and that either way leaves you room for a sentiment above or below. Or you could even leave it in the middle. I mean, it's strictly up to you. So that one looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and combine and weld this one. And it's again a little bit big, so shrink it down a little bit. Now in this case, I would get rid of those tiny little cuts in there. So we're just going to select each one. Well, I'm going to try to select each one. Let's do it this way maybe. Oh, wrong ones. Okay, let me open everything back up. Go all the way to the bottom. It's these little cuts down here. All right, so there you go. So that was with circles, and circles up here. This was with the teardrops. Then you've got your oval. Let's do one more real quick with, let's do the heart. I'm dying to do the heart. Okay. So we're going to make another copy. We're going to change our color so we can see it, and we're going to minimize it a little bit, or shrink it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to select both hearts. I'm going to select align and center, and then I'm going to hit slice, and we'll pull one of those out. Looky there. Okay, so let me take both of these, move them out of the way, this guy out of the way, this guy out of the way. So I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees, and I'm going to shrink it because I want to see if I can get two of them to go across the side, or you know, the width of the card. Let's duplicate it. Let's flip it horizontally. So I could make it a little bit bigger, or I could leave that space in the center and see what we come up with. Let's leave the space in the center. Okay, so I'm just pulling those out a little bit, and I'm going to select both, and I'm going to align top or bottom. There we go. And I'm just going to group them. We can always weld them later. So I'm going to slide that back out of the way, and we're going to duplicate this, and I'm going to go ahead and center it because I just want to play with it for a second. So align and center. Now we'll click the top one, and let's try 30 degrees and see what that gives us. Not real fond of that. Let's try 45. That's better. Let's see, 40. I don't know if 40 will work. We could try 15. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe a little too interesting. Let's try 60. Okay, we'll keep it simple this time. So we'll do it in 60. So we're going to duplicate this one, and then we will change it to 120. And that should be all we need. So we're going to select all of them, select Align and Center, and there you go. That's kind of cool looking. I'm going to make a copy of this because I'm not done playing with it. So I'm going to pull all those in, and I'm going to combine and weld. But that's cool. I really like that one. I may change my mind tomorrow, but for right now I really like it. And you know, you're always going to change the way it looks by how close or how far apart these starting two hearts are. So let me put this back to 0. Where does that send me? Okay, I can work with that. So let's do a duplicate, and did we do 15 earlier? I think we did. Oh, but you know what I got to do? I got to center them so that I can truly see what it's going to look like. It's going to be a lot of little pieces, but what the heck, let's go for it. So duplicate, we'll go 30, duplicate 45, duplicate 60, duplicate 75. I'm just adding 15 degrees each time. Duplicate 90. That should do it, I think. We'll see here in a second. We'll select everything, align, center. Ooh, it didn't do everything, but isn't that kind of strange looking? Okay. That one's on top, and that's at 90. So let's duplicate it, and we'll go to 105. And we'll duplicate that, and we'll do 120, and we'll duplicate that, do 135, and duplicate that, 150, duplicate again, make it 165, and we'll just do it again at 180. If we don't need that one, it'll just cover up the other one that's already on that plane. Alright, so select them all again, align and center. It's like a spirograph, but it's very busy. Now if you were going to do it in all different colors, it might be kind of cool, but I'm going to just pick one of them out of there and duplicate it because that's really busy for me. Let's weld it and see what it looks like. I don't think it's going to matter much, but yeah, so a lot of little cuts everywhere. Don't really care for it. Let's do this again. I'm going to get rid of it, and we're going to come down here. So that was at 15 degrees. So let's try 22 and a half. 22 and a half is half of 45. Okay, so this is I'm going to have to think about this. So let's do add it, and then do 22. We put it at 202.5, right? And then let's center it. Okay, that's a little less busy, but it will get busier as we add more to it. So we'll add one, and again we're adding 22.5, so that's going to be 243. And then we'll add one, 275.5, and then we'll add one, 297, 298. We'll add one, 320.5. I may be off here a little bit, so we'll see. And let's try, hopefully this last one. So 342.5, so 343. Okay, let's select all of them, align and center. Okay, I'm definitely missing one somewhere, but that's a little bit easier to see. Where's the last one I did? Let's do it like that. 343, so 365.5, so it'll be 5.5. Let's duplicate it and do 5.5. I don't know if that's right. We'll see. Plus 27.28. Okay, I feel like I'm getting in repetitive territory here, so we'll do align and center. Nope, there's still something off. Well, anyway, you kind of get the idea. This might not have been the best example. I'm just going to pull one of those out of there to hang on to it. Delete that. Let's change this back to 0. Okay, so what if we go ahead and pull, let's ungroup this, and we push those together so the points just touch in the middle, and then we go ahead and combine it. You know what I should have done? I should have copied that. So I'm just erasing, Control Z, Control Z. Okay. Oh, a little too crazy. All right, let's get rid of all this. Let's duplicate this. And let's turn it back to 0 and ungroup it. And let's just slide this back in again till they're just touching. Okay, so now let's unlock it and let's kind of just smush it up a little bit just to see what it does. And how will that look on here? Well, we could make it a little bit bigger or a little wider. How's that? Yeah, that's a little too wide. Okay, so I'm going to combine and weld that, and we'll make a copy. We will change it. Let's do 45. That seems to be a good number. And we'll go ahead and select both of those and align center. Okay, that's got promise. We'll see here. So duplicate. We're doing 45 degrees increments. So next one's 90, and we're going to duplicate, and then we got 135. And I'll duplicate again and do, I don't think I needed to do that. Let's send it 180. I think that's kind of where we started. Yeah, I believe that's where we started, so I'll get rid of that. So we select it all again, align and center. You know, okay, so that's definitely a workable piece. So we're going to combine and weld that. And if anybody's interested in these files, I will save all of this in one file, and I will share the link below. I will get rid of some of this stuff that's not really as good, or maybe I'll just hide it. This one just did not turn out good at all, so I'm going to delete that one. It's the same concept. Make it the same exact way. Get rid of these, and I think that looks good. I'm going to get rid of all of this, So, oops, Control Z. So these two are essentially the same. It's just that this is on the 4 by 5 1/4 card base. This is on the 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. Should be 5 1/2. That was wrong. By 5 1/2 card base. So you can kind of see how those look on the different size cards, and that you might want to resize them a little bit. Now, if you wanted to do a square, let's do a 4 by 4. Let's just duplicate this. We'll put it over here, and we'll make it a 4 by 4. And then, well, let's send it to the back. And it's a little big, so let's use this one over here. So there it is on a square card, if you like square cards. And again, it's really cute. You can do it either way. Let's see. To me, this reminds me of like a nuclear symbol or the Jetsons or some kind of cartoony thing. I can't quite put my finger on it, but that's where I'm going with that. And this one looks spirography to me, for those of you who are, well, I guess they still make it, so I guess everybody should know what that is. Yeah, and then we can just resize to make that as big or small if we want it. And you could add a layer behind it if you like. Or we could, let's change it. Let's do one of these. Let's put that over there. Do we like that one? Make it a little smaller. So, you know, you get the idea. This is just really, it's just about playing. You could do this same technique with almost all of the shapes. Some will work better than others. Star might not work too good, but a lot of these will work. So it's just about playing with them and figuring out your degrees. Do you want to go 15, 30, 45, so increments of 15, or increments of 20, or 22 and a half, which is half of 45. So you have options. 60, you know, 90, whatever you want to do. That's right there's probably the hardest part. So I'm going to pull these two and put them up there, and then I'm just going to hide all of this. I'm going to group it, and then I'm going to hide it. So it's there if you're interested. But again, if you didn't see the last video, I show you how to work with this, either to cut this out just as a layer over the top, or to cut it out and then use the pieces that are behind it. Now this should be very symmetrical. So one of the things I mentioned yesterday was, if you use a cardstock that's either double-sided or it's even plain white on the back, you could probably use it to do something like this, because it's very symmetrical. So your pieces, when you flip them over, should fit frontwards or backwards into any of these little spots, because that's why we centered everything, and hopefully it aligned properly. And so one piece of printed cardstock, and you could make this design. So you know what? I said it, let's do it. I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to cut this out, and I'll be right back. All right. I found this yellow scrap that was big enough to cut out all of my 4 card fronts with, and it was white on the back. So it's probably out of a paper pad, but I don't know which one. So that's what I used. And I cut 4 different cards out. Now I'll start off by telling you, on this one, I meant to glue this side and put it face down, and I forgot. So then I had to figure out what I was going to do with the back side that I pieced in there. So I used the Spectrum Noir Sparkle. I've had it for several years. I think they still sell it. And it's basically just the same stuff you would get in like a Wink of Stella pen, except it's in a jar and you just use a paintbrush. So I painted that on, and I debated about doing some ink blending, but I thought this would be quicker. It's just really, really bright. So I added a little bit of the diamond glaze to the center star. Let me see if I can. It's still drying, but hopefully that'll look nice when it's done. I am going to add something to the corners because I think it needs a little something else. Let's zoom in just a little. So that's one card front. And again, I won't be attaching these until that diamond glaze dries completely. But that's the one where we use the hearts. And again, I could have taken a little bit longer and picked better papers. I just went through my cut scraps and grabbed what I could in the, what I thought were appropriate shades. I think this one turned out really nice. The background's really bright, but again, might do something to kind of tone that down a little bit. I did add a thin layer of diamond glaze to the center of that one. It's still drying, but it's a thinner layer. This is the other one with diamond glaze, and again, the background's really bright, but this time I domed the diamond glaze a little bit higher, so it's more like one of those sticky dots that you'd put on there. And this one, by the time I got started on it, I felt like putting the pieces in here, it was just going to kind of be too much, so I left those out, added them to the corners here, and then added some flat back pearls to the corners as well. And that one's probably my favorite, to be honest. The yellow background's not quite as bright as these other two, and yeah, I like that one. That's probably my favorite out of all of them. So I'll finish putting these on cards. I'll finish adding some sentiments and getting them decorated, and then I will add that to the tail end of this video.